wonderful fashion, you know.
Such is life.
There's another one I can't wait for to, you know. Right, I think we're live. So share to a group. It's going to be Urglaawe. Share. Oh. Wait, is it done? We're still live? Is anybody here, though, is the question. Nope, I can't tell if anybody's there yet or not. So I have to look at it in the Urglaawe group. Oh, somebody's watching. Hi, folks. We're having a little technical difficulty with the other one. With the main one. Easy talk, so give me a minute. Right. So let's see, now I guess I gotta go to Zehe official. I think I'm gonna be able to figure my way in here. Alright, best laid plans. We're already starting on Rob's standard time. Let's see if we can move it down to pagan standard time, right? So where's the link? It's hilarious that I went through putting all this stuff up there 16 times and now I can't find it when I need it. I need the link to the program. Why can't I find this thing? I'll edit it then. Okay, that's actually better because Larry's in, so. Alright, sorry folks, we're still having we're clearing up our technical difficulty. Alright, so now I just gotta find the link to my own program here and then please sign back. You know, do you guys can you hand them a copy of the program? Alright, well folks, today Pennsylvania, or at least our section of Pennsylvania, the last ones to do it, moved into the yellow zone. I just need that link again. Right, so let's see. And so our moving to yellow means that I actually get to have people here. You know, 6 feet apart, you two. You know. And Andrea, I guess Andrea's the only one missing, right? Because my house is not that big. We only have, hi everybody, this is Adam, that's Matt, that's Carla, the dog's upstairs, and I just got to get into Easy Talks to run the, let me plug in. And of course, when I plug in, I won't be able to stand the phone up straight. Alright, just gotta push it in there. Alright, now, let me get into the Easy Talk one. So, normally kind of just have casual discussions for these Easy Talk things. Sorry, for the Urglaawe Live things. But tonight, since it's falling on June 5th, which is the, I don't know if you can all hear me with this thing on. I may have to cheat a little. I've already had it anyway, can't get anybody to say. But we're focusing on the observance of the Desecrated Shrines, which I think I started 2018. I think it was 2018 Troth Mood or something. I think it was the first time I started it. Then we started making it a regular ritual and recognizing that that people who follow other other traditions of paganism suffered the same things that our ancestors did. So we try to make this something that's pan-pagan, and that that people can honor their own deities whose shrines were desecrated. And this is being a 501c3. I've only tread into politics so far, but this is very relevant to us today because religious zealotry and bigotry and sectarianism and religious privilege are still very much an issue. And I'll be repeating that once I get into the Easy Talks because those folks need to hear it. So a couple more minutes. Oh, where the hell is it? Up there it is. No, that's not it. Oh, that's what it is. Oh. I need to be in the other one. Observance. That's why I couldn't find it. It's too organized for my own good. There's a sentence here. Okay. So waiting for Doug to come down. Andrea lives the closest. Oh, the other than you two. Andrea lives the next closest. Alright, now I should be able to find it.
Timing is very...
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, linear time got thrown off just from going upstairs, going upstairs to take a shower to coming back downstairs.
I grew up with if you weren't early, you were late. On time's late.
I need to link to this again. Oh, there she is. Can you let her in, please? All right, Andrew's here, so we're going to get started here.
Sorry.
I'm not even in the Easy Talks yet, so.
Oh, good. I gotta get it back from though.
I think it's clear. And remember, we are recording, so.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
All right.
Already. As soon as I get that Easy Talks.
God, really are waiting for me. Let me read back.
All right. So anyway, I gotta get into the Easy Talks first. Still having a technical difficulty. It's a minor one. Just need info. Thank you. There we go. That's what we need. And Rob. Alright, so this is being broadcast and recorded through two places. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to waste your time, folks. Just catching up. And now they want me to download it, alright? Have lunch? Do we have lunch? Do we have lunch? Oh, there goes a cat. And okay. Alrighty. Oh, so I'm the Easy Talks now. Alright. And on Facebook Live. Two spots. Alright. So let's start over again. Wow, you got 6 feet apart.
Whatever.
So welcome to the Observance. Grab the chair. Observance of the Desecrated Shrines for 2020. As I had mentioned on the Facebook Live chat already, and I'm gonna have to remove this so you might not hear me. This was originally founded in, I think, 2018 in response to me reading something about, actually I can tell you, in our program I have it, the work cited. It is The Conversion of the Teutonic Race, St. Boniface and the Conversion of Germany, which is by somebody named Anne Hope from 1872, and it is church records there, and what it essentially is documentation of, at least from the church, the Catholic Church's point of view, of the terrorism committed against the pagans and the heathens of the German lands, and not just German, but for my purposes, I was focusing particularly on the German things, and unfortunately, this stuff goes on around the world even today. Yeah, what was it back in? During the Afghan, before the Afghan war started, the Taliban blew up the Buddhist statues that were, and all sorts of things still are happening in Central America, aren't they? Against some Native American religions.
Bolivia.
Yeah, in Bolivia and here in our country, I would not look at it necessarily as terrorism so much as I would religious privilege, where certain religions can just kind of do what they want wherever they want, while other religions are, either made to feel uncomfortable or excluded somehow, or, in other words, it all runs by the definitions of the religious hegemony, and and depending on where you are in the country, the list of religions that are excluded from that could include Judaism, and Islam. But primarily it's the smaller, polytheistic faiths that I tend to focus on, because as different as we are in many ways, we share so many of the same challenges that it is worth noting, and we really have to kind of stick together on to those ends in order to be able to assert ourselves and our right to our own religious expression as guaranteed to us in the Constitution. And unfortunately, the same rights are not necessarily everywhere else. So in reading these stories, the story of the conversion of the Teutons by Anne Hope, I picked out several gods and goddesses. One of whom we all know is Adorna or Thor, and because Boniface is the one who is credited by them, blamed by me, for the destruction of the oak. And one second, please. Are you staying or going? Are you staying or going? You're staying here. Yes, the masquerade. Yes, this is the masquerade ball, the desecration of the shrine. What was that?
Just as FYI to you, we have no video of you.
Oh, really? There is a reason for that.
Really?
There is a reason for that. Voila.
There you are.
Yes, there I am. Okay, so we all know that the story of Dorna is pretty. From their point of view, he was a big miracle that he brought this brought this tree down. The pagans all converted on the spot. They didn't. Forgot to mention that he had all these soldiers with him, and and everything, and that some people did resist. They make it sound as if it was something that everybody was happy about, But we honor Dorna very often, and it's some of these lesser deities that I like to want to focus on and try to build some sort of understanding of over time, recognizing, of course, that there is going to be elements of personal gnosis, unverified, of course, but also community knows this as we begin to get to know the deities more. So the first one that I'm going to list, and by the way, this is on page, the topics of discussion in Urglaawe things always fall toward the back because they're longer. Is page 5. There are some differing theories on the areas of concern or particular concern for some of these deities. The first one is that, and I'm actually kind of drawn to this one for some, to her for some reason, is Zehe, who will come out as Yeho in Dutch. It's apparently related. Actually, it's pretty even to my own Dutch eyes. It's related to the word for hunt, but including the Dutch words Jäger, which means hunter, Jäger, which means to hunt, and Jacht, which is spelled like yacht, but is not a yacht. It has nothing to do with the English word for a kind of boat. But we consecrated an arrow to her that we use every year, and normally I would, be outside shooting the arrow somewhere, like at the cemetery or something, kind of like Adam did at Evergreen Jaeger. Yeah, but you look better when you're doing. So I'm going forward from. We are going to begin to, since we are Urglaawe, we are going to be using her Dutch spelling of her name, which would change the J to a Y, and Echaa. And we will begin to use that spelling from this time forward. And the next one is the one that people seem to find funny when they see the name written, Stufo, but people think it's Stuffo, and they're like, oh, he's the god with all the right stuffo. Well, that may or may not be. We know from the church's own lore that a Stufo, whose name in Dutch would be rendered as Stufo, which has a long U, and which helps to get rid of that whole stuffo thing, was consulted as an oracle. Perhaps he's a god who was associated with wisdom and knowledge, and there's an image of him that's found on page 484 of the Gods of the Germanic Peoples, Volume 2. The picture is a bit peculiar, but Gardenstone says it is taken from a dedication stone of unknown age, and I have it on the back of this thing. It almost looks like he's wearing some sort of costume, like an animal costume or something. But what is it that's sticking out? Like, what's coming out of his back? For those of you who can't see, I'm going to hold it up first to the Facebook Live one. It's an odd image. Huh? Well, like what? Well, and the funny thing is, this happened by accident today. I went out to garden harvest, and all the red clover ended up on Stufo's Stufo's little rendering there, and it does, because it does look like clover. Let me show up to the this one I can share my screen to, can I? There is still a thing called a Stufo log, or a Stufo hole. I don't fully understand the German lore, because their lore didn't make it over here with Stufo, but actually, I'm tempted to get that book out. Let's go. Can I find it easily? It almost worries me how we later found this.
There's also a site stone.
What? Huh?
Stones they're not evenly
Yeah.
spaced.
Yeah, let me pull this up and show it on the share the
It's not
screen.
placed,
Yeah, it's like he's wearing a belt or something.
or maybe they don't look evenly spaced though.
I mean,
They like stones, yeah.
it's like he looks like ancient Batman.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or little aliens.
yeah, I mean, it's a very odd picture, and but first of all, I would like to know who made it. Was it a dedication stone made by the Germanic tribes to honor him, or was it a dedication stone made by the church to mock him? And I really we have no real way of knowing, but let me find this thing.
So the horns give almost like a goat type of
Yeah.
thing going on.
Like what?
Like a goat type of thing.
Oh, to me they look more like a bat.
That'd be ears, yeah.
Yeah. He looked like a bat.
Or a cat.
A
Cat
bat.
or a rabbit?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, rabbit's kind of long.
To me, with the wings, it looks like Batman. But
Well, I can see Batman.
yeah. And but his, with they describe him as an oracle themselves, that he was consulted for things, but we don't know exactly what he was
Well,
consulted
maybe,
for.
is there a interpretation of outer-worldly kind of,
Let me see.
abstract oracle? You always think.
The church didn't really preserve that much lore. I mean, one of the good things about them, well, one of the not good things necessarily, but the only real silver lining to some of these destructions is that when they were listing off the wonderful jobs that these missionaries did destroying the lives of other people, they had a tendency to at least mention something that they found to be offensive. With Hulla, it was the brooms and and the riding with riding with demons and stuff like that. But with let's see.
No, I'm just saying, I see nothing wrong.
Can you guys see my? Can you guys see my?
It's almost like an Apollo type of figure. Or,
What?
Yeah, we see it.
You see it? Okay.
Yeah.
Remote control right. I don't know what that means. But yeah, I mean, it's a very strange picture, and when I first saw it, I was like, what is this? But
It's got no neck.
yeah. But is it a mask, or is that the appearance of it? I think it's a mask. It's like maybe some animal, content, and people used to do that. People still do that. What?
Got nice abs.
Are those abs, or is that the belt or whatever that he's wearing? And
Maybe those are stones of divination.
it could be. Ooh,
Yeah, thank you.
stones
And
of
then the abs
divination.
are like the power and in
Well,
the
the
ears
core.
or the antenna, right?
It's clairaudient, yeah. Well, so anyway, so we don't know a whole lot about Stufo there, but that we do. The next one up would be Laura. Two competing theories on her primary area of concern. One is that she may have been associated with livestock breeding and farming. That comes from Gardenstone's Gods of the Germanic Peoples, Volume 2, page 333. And the second one is that she may have been associated with learning and knowledge. This is derived from a possible connection to the Germanic roots for the words for teaching and lecturing, which live on in Dutch words such as lera, to teach or to instruct, and leer, education or learning. And to my mind came initially like an old German encyclopedia somebody had given me one book from, and when I opened it up, it landed right on Braga, and I thought it was kind of funny. This was a total UPG connection that I made, which was happening just by the time I was researching Laura, and so I took that as the connection to Scandinavian Bragi with his creativity and words and poetry, and I sort of put it into the context that was possibly affirming through synchronicity, nothing else. Yes, that's total UPG. And I started moving forward with honoring Laura as a goddess associated with learning and education, and as a teacher. That's kind of important. Now, one of the other things I would like to mention about Laura is that there appears to be at least historically, a fairly strong tie between the Germanics and the Slavs, particularly the Sorbs, or what they call the Wendish, in honoring her. So this is one of those deities that we're used to hearing about crossovers between Celtic gods and Germanic gods, and even sometimes Roman, but we don't really hear much about the Slavs. And the funny thing is, we got that giant statue of Rupertal sitting there. That's shared Slavic and Germanic lore, and our peoples have lived alongside each other for quite some time. Word plenty, and I'm sure, had little babies with each other. So I still think that there is a lot of missed opportunities with the Slavs. That we could learn a lot of information from them, and I try to interact with them whenever I possibly can if there's something that turns up with shreds in their lore, and keep in mind also, my master's is in Slavic studies, so anyway, so I would love to see what other what other entries are in some of those other encyclopedias, but I also would like to know more about what, if any, lore survives among the Sorbs of this, goddess, of this goddess.
Could there be an Indo-European connection with the word to read? Like in Spanish, is leer is to read, and I think it's similar in French as well. Like je lis is to read.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I mean,
it's education.
well,
in the
to
words.
read in German in Dutch is lezen. Okay, this is lera.
Okay.
There's no S in there, but that doesn't, but that doesn't negate the, are there any words in Spanish that go along with education, knowledge, or creativity, or something that have?
But the one I'm thinking of is to read, but just like layers.
Oh, there you got homework project.
Yeah.
Oh, please, he'll jump down the rabbit hole in the heartbeat. All right. And then we have Biel, who also appeals as Phil, depending on the record. He may have been associated with the sun and or forest. A picture on the Billstein console, or the Bielstone pulpit in Germany, appears in volume 1 of Gods of the Germanic People on page 107. That's what we have in the corner of our altar over there. And local myths from the Harz Mountains in Germany seem to support a god of the forest. I was unsure how to honor him until I discovered, this is total UPG again, and this was actually this was last year, the second year of this that this happened. Until I discovered that 2 medium-sized branches from my maple tree had been knocked down by something. We don't know what they were, and were in my front yard at the time I was preparing to honor him. Now, if you look out here, you'll notice that my front yard has a fence, and the trees on the other side of the fence, but the branches ended up inside the fence, which I don't know how. Today it was a blue indigo that got knocked over by the wind yesterday, and that's what's on our altar now. But again, we're dealing mostly with UPG. My UPG in this particular ritual, but everybody else is going to be starting to develop similar or different things, and I think that's we are all welcome to have our own beliefs when we're all together. We just kind of go with consensus. But now, this one is the big puzzle to me, Reto. I've not been able to really wend my way through any existing references to this crying woman who needs to wash herself on Easter Eve, on the Saturday before Easter. In the Reto law, she needs to wash herself in this large hole in the middle of the hill named after him. I'm also not fully sure I comprehend the connections made to the Anglo-Saxon goddess Reda. Indeed, I should say, some scholars do not even believe that Reto was a god. It might just have been tossed into Boniface's lore to embellish and to boast and to increase his fame. But when I hear his name, Reto, if it is Germanic, to me, I hear echoes of the Dutch words for to rescue or to save. And you got yourself whatever this large hole is in the middle. Whatever this large hole is in the middle makes me wonder if maybe Reto pulled somebody out of this cave. And UPG is one of the things that many of us deal with is depression, which is like a big hole in the middle of your cave. And in this past year, I've actually only fairly recently, because as this started coming up on the calendar, I started thinking to myself, I've had this theory in my mind. I haven't explored it, and I've kind of started to explore it, and I don't know, but it actually has helped. But is it placebo effect or is it real? I don't know. That's what happens when you have a little bit of science mixed in with your UPG. But anyway, so those are the deities that we're honoring today. Anybody need to use the bathroom or drink anything to drink or whatever? Okay. Alright, so now I gotta rearrange everything here because we got our altars over here. Here, you could. I would like to hold the organ on the live camera. Okay.
Wait,
your-
Adam, watch.
Did I share the screen yet? On.
What?
You're still sharing.
Okay, thank you. I don't know that. Share desktop or share whiteboard?
Rob,
Yeah.
okay, for that,
What?
and then right up, so that the share, so then it goes away.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the first thing you said. Go back to Easy Talk.
Yeah, okay, you see that red stop button in the middle? Yeah, try hitting that.
Okay, hit it once, hit it twice, and
Goes.
we're back to Sarah. All right. All right. Alright, so anyway, so here we have our depiction of Yeka, the arrow. Stufo with his clover. This is Beal and that pulpit, the stone pulpit. We have Dona on there for